This is Talking Tactics, the podcast that celebrates enrollment success one tactic at a time. The catch? The tactic had to be done with limited resources, either by a single person, a small but mighty team, limited time, or with a low budget. I'm your host, Diana Kibbles, Strategy Director at Ology, and I'll be interviewing the most creative and resourceful folks across higher ed to break down a single tactic, from idea to results, so you can try them too. Are you ready? Let's talk tactics. Hi, friends. Day here, and welcome to Talking Tactics. My guest today is one of my favorite internet friends, the type you feel you know, but you haven't met in person yet, Jaime Baglini. Shane is the Senior Director of Marketing and Recruitment for the Division of Graduate and Continuing Education at Muhlenberg College. Shane was a first-generation college graduate, so he's really passionate about bringing the life-changing opportunities of education to students. Shane is here to talk to us about how he increased submitted RFI forms for a grad program by 241% and blew past their enrollment target by 50%. By using a very simple paid keyword change. Folks, let me tell you, Shane is so smart. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Day. Thanks so much for having me. I'm also a big fan of yours, and it's cool to kind of meet, quote unquote, IRL.
We are the IRL generation, right? All right. So tell us about this tactic. What was the issue you were trying to solve, and where did it come from?
Sure. So Muhlenberg College launched our graduate school in February of 2020. Awesome.
What a great year to launch things.
Just when people were making big life-changing decisions, right? Basically, everybody's problem of low enrollment, but also low interest in specifically one of our graduate programs, which was our Master's in Applied Analytics. So think of it as your typical business analytics major, and that would be the audience that you're thinking would be interested, and all of the research that we had kind of back that up, that there should be high interest in this program. So there was something going on, and so shortly after I got here in February of 22, my digital marketing specialist and I kind of sat down and sort of took a couple hours to brainstorm what is the problem here. Is it SEO? Is it something we're doing? Is it budget? And we quickly kind of realized, just based on some really general keyword research, honestly, that took us, 30 minutes to complete, that people weren't searching for the actual name of the program. Nobody was searching for a master's in applied analytics. Everybody was searching for data analytics.
Right.
So the program was misnamed, but still was a fit for that audience. Like, it was still a fit for somebody searching for that.
I mean, yeah, I would think anything analytics would be a very popular program. So not seeing the enrollments you thought you would see, big red flag. So the idea was, okay, how are people searching for it? You figured out, oh yeah, no one's looking for applied analytics. What even is that? Data analytics is the word. How did you do the search? Was it just quickly online through Google search tools?
We were partnered with a digital agency at the time, so we also used some of their tools that they had on hand to just kind of get some volume and some, impression share data. But yeah, mostly the tools that are available to pretty much anybody running Google Ads. It didn't take us long at all, and we sort of, it was like that eureka moment where we're like, okay, we figured this out, but how are we gonna tell people that this is the actual issue?
How are we gonna tell people? Yeah. So okay, you discovered this, and now you're like, okay, like, we got to do something about it. So tell me what happened then.
So the first step for us was, one, we needed to tell people. We needed to, like, here's our solution, because we were actually, like, we were tasked with figure this out, what's going on. So we reported back to, our dean and faculty and said, here's the issue. This program should be generating interest, but it's not. And the lack of applications or enrollment was to be expected. It's a new program, but the lack of interest was the concerning thing. So that was step one. Step two was to sort of rebuild all of our paid search ads and our keyword strategy. We pretty much ceased bidding on applied analytics as a search term, which is the name of the program. So that being said, the third step was then SEO related, right? So we had to creatively mix in data analytics onto our, onto our page, onto our landing pages, into our search ads, even though the program was called Applied Analytics. So we had to get we really had to get
You
creative.
could rename it. Rename it to Master of Applied Analytics, aka Data Analytics.
And that was actually we proposed that to the faculty, but we haven't gotten there yet. So
step by step, right? You started talking to folks about how you could solve this issue, started thinking about changing the keyword search, the paid terms, SEO on the pages. Talk to me about the resources that you needed to change the ads, to rewrite SEO copy. As you know, we're looking for low resource tactics. So tell me how you made it work.
Yeah, so we had no additional resources, actually. This was all coming.
Team of two.
This was all coming from existing budget. What we did do, based on the cost of those search terms being much higher than what we were bidding on, we did adjust budgets across our portfolio of search and display. We shifted budget from some programs that were longer established on the undergraduate side of things to increase our budget on this program in particular, just based on the additional cost of what we were bidding on and how competitive those terms are. Luckily, we have a really great freelancer that we work with that specializes in writing for SEO. So we went right to him to say, okay, we need to rewrite this page. We can't change the name of the program, but we do need to mix in these, 5 to 10 search terms. So it actually took him a little bit, it was a back and forth of draft, maybe 3 or 4 drafts to actually get something that not only worked, but then didn't make it appear as though the program was changing names. So his first draft was like, it changed the name of the headline and the site tag. And we're like, okay, that's not going to work. So those were, that's really the resources. So really the only additional funding required was the SEO writer. And if you're lucky enough to have one on staff, you wouldn't even need to spend any money there.
I want to quickly interrupt this conversation to invite you to join me at Element 451's Engage Summit on June 27th and 28th in Raleigh, North Carolina. When it comes to the student experience, we know that you want to be a trusted guide from recruiting to graduation. The Engage Summit by Element 451 brings the best minds in higher ed together to give you the strategy and tools to create a cohesive student experience from start to finish. Explore the latest technologies, increase your skill set, and gain insights into today's students to deliver the most personalized digital engagement experience every step of the way. This is not your standard EdTech user conference. This is a dynamic, inspiring, and empowering event for all higher ed marketers and admissions professionals. I'll be presenting at this event along with some of your favorite higher ed LinkedIn and Twitter follows. You can learn more about this event and register for it at engage.element451.com. Oh, and get 50% off your registration when you use the discount code Enrollify50 at checkout. See you there. This is such a clever change that seems so simple when you actually think about it, but had big results. And I want to talk to you about that. So what results did you see from these shifts?
Yeah, so it's funny when you look at our data and some of the charts, you can see we made these changes in like the 3rd week in February of 2022. And you can just see everything kind of skyrocket. Impressions, clicks, conversions. You just you can see a line in the sand almost. So yeah, the results were great. We, in the fiscal year 22, we had 46 conversions or submitted lead forms from a paid source, specifically paid source, because this was, we were focusing on the paid aspects of this because some of the SEO issues and navigation issues with our site make it difficult for us to lead people right to our .edu. So we were focusing really on the paid aspect of things. So far in fiscal year 23, we're on May 26th here, we have 157 conversions from paid form submissions.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a 41% increase.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's job security for you right there.
Yeah. And you know what? It went from being one of our programs drawing the least interest to like leading the way across our portfolio of programs because of that really simple shift.
I think that's so clever. So have you seen those leads, like that interest, translate into enrollment?
Yeah. So applications are up in that program as well. But I mean, the most important thing was in spring of 22, we did not have a cohort enrolled in that program. And in spring of
Wow.
23, we've got 11 students. So, that might
Wow.
sound like a small number, but our target and sort of keeping in line with Muhlenberg's mission is really small class sizes. So our
Mm-hmm.
target is always like 8 students. So
Oh my gosh.
we're over that target, which is awesome.
I'm imagining the folks at Muhlenberg kind of looking at what you did here and basically coming to you. Like there's a line outside your office right now from faculty members that are like, do this for my program. Is that the case? Like what are some of like the ripple effects of this huge success that you've seen?
Yeah, so there's a couple. One is we looked at every single program and the keywords that we were bidding on. We've got another master's that's a master's in organizational leadership.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that people interested in an MBA might be in line with, but you wouldn't know to search for that. So we made shifts like that to sort of make our programs more visible. They're still really, really valuable for people looking for that, but it's, they're very specifically named. The second thing, and this is really, this is the goal, I think should be the goal for everybody. We're now one of the first kind of stops along the way of a new program being developed.
Oh my gosh.
So we've got
you have figured out the way.
Yeah. So we've got a graduate certificate in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging that we're considering spinning up into a standalone master's. And so the first thing before any curriculum was developed, anything like that, was to come to myself and our digital marketing specialist and say, can you do some keyword research on what we should call this thing?
I think you could bottle this up and sell it and people would buy it. I know this is the dream for marketers everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody listening to this should go check your keywords because, I mean, really the name of a program could make or break, even not even from a paid search perspective, but somebody just browsing your website might come across a master's in applied analytics and not know what it is. So the on-page content as well is really important to sort of explain in popular terms what this program is.
Yeah. So what's your advice for folks that might want to, right now they're like, oh my goodness, after this podcast episode ends, I am immediately checking my keywords. If someone doesn't know how to do that yet, what are the steps? Where do they go? What do they look for? How do they know what is popular? What are your tips there?
Yeah, I mean, the first tip would be to go to Google search tools. I mean, I think they make them just so user friendly for that reason. Don't think too much about it. Look at the landscape of higher ed and look at different programs around, big brand names. That's what we did, and kind of the aspirational schools that are really successful graduate programs. We didn't think too much into it. It's like, okay, they're calling it this. Let's see why. And the why is because it's popular. It's what people are searching for. So I would say definitely use the free tools available to you. If you have an agency that you're working with, task them with some of this research, but also don't think too hard about it. The best ideas are usually already thought of. So there's no real need to recreate the wheel here.
That's great. Like I think I'm going to go and figure something out here for some of my work that I'm doing right now. Is there anything that you learned out of this process that like you would do differently next time or something new that you might want to try from your learnings?
Yeah, well, I mean, what I learned was that, as a marketer, it's okay to sort of speak up and say, hey, this, there's a problem with what we're calling this program, or there's a problem with how long this program is or how much it costs. And that's why we're not seeing the interest. I think marketing is usually the last to sort of like, okay, here's this program. We developed this curriculum. It costs this much. Now go get us students. But we were able to sort of flip that now where people have seen this result and they're thinking, okay, let's make sure we get the really basic things right here. That would be my biggest learning is that, speaking up as a marketer isn't going to, like, it's not going to offend anybody. We're all working towards the same sort of we want students to enroll. So sometimes marketing has the best perspective on that from a a product standpoint. I know that word isn't higher ed.
It's a dirty word in higher ed.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it is. It's how you're
is.
packaging your product, and marketing is in a good spot to really inform that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I really love about this tactic is how really it was a language issue in many ways. And folks might have seen me. I talk about this a lot, how language is the barrier that's keeping students away from our programs that marketing can single-handedly control. Like, we can use the words that people are going to understand. We can rewrite things so that it's accessible for everyone. And that's so powerful. And it's one of those barriers people don't even think about, right? So I love that.
Yeah, we're it's important to think how your students are thinking. And a lot of that can be informed by how they're searching. People search how they think. And if we're not thinking about the student experience, a lot of times higher ed is designing websites and ads and things for, it's a combination of an intranet and a website. It's like, we're here for our prospective and current students. Can we design things that make sense for them?
I actually cringed when you said intranet. Don't do that to me again. I imagined like HTML, not responsive, like buttons that are gray. Don't do that to me again.
All right. Never say intranet again.
No, it's forbidden on this podcast.
Duly noted.
Well, thank you so much, Shane. That was short and sweet. Any other learnings to share about this tactic with our audience?
None other than to just, whether you have an agency or you got a small team or a big team, just be checking your keywords at all times.
You can magically double enrollment, according to Shane.
Right. I mean, and you can, make sure that the right mix of keywords is there and you're not overextending yourself and all those good things. But, it's a daily sort of thing that you need to do to make sure everything you're doing is relevant.
I love it. I love how simple it is. If folks want to contact you, Shane, where can they find you?
Sure. So I'm on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Shane_Baglini. And I'm on LinkedIn @Shane Baglini.
Perfect. And I do suggest that you follow Shane, as I said, one of my favorite internet friends. Thank you, Shane.
Thanks so much, Day. Really fun.
To our listeners out there, keep walking the walk and talking the tactics. Thank you all for listening to Talking Tactics. If you try what you heard today, or if you've got a tactic of your own to share, I definitely want to hear it. So find me on LinkedIn by searching for my name, Diana Kibilds. That's DAYANAKIBILDS. And if you're enjoying Talking Tactics, please rate and review the show, because there's nothing I love more than a good grade and positive reinforcement. Finally, if you just can't get enough of good podcasts, the Enrollify Podcast Network delivers with an amazing selection of other marketing and admissions-focused podcasts just for you. Go show them some love. See you next time.